Okay, notes on dividing fractions. Very, very similar to multiplying with one exception. And I know some of you guys have already stated this before, but when you divide, you're going to actually multiply by the reciprocal. And sometimes people refer to it as the reciprocal. I know some of you have talked about change, flip, or something like that. But anyway, all we're going to do is the same type of thing we did with multiplication. We just have to change the problem initially to a multiplication problem, and the way we do that is by changing it from division to multiply. So we're going to take the first one, again, one of the first things we've got to do, change it to a fraction. So that becomes 5/8 over 5. This now becomes multiply, and then where you are going to flip this fraction, 10 over 9. So now we're back to the type of problems we were doing in the previous lesson, which are multiplying fractions. And then we're going to do the same process. We're going to cross reduce. So 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 10 two, 8 and 9, those will not cross reduce. There's nothing that'll go into both of those. So then we multiply straight across and we get 16 over 9. Again, if you want to change it to a mixed number, always pay attention to your directions or answer choices. But 9 goes into 16 one time with a remainder of 7. Okay, number 2 is the same type of problem. It's just written differently. So instead of using this division symbol right here, we're using a fraction bar, which is also division, but we're still going to do the same process. I'm going to take the first fraction, 12 over 7. Oops. There we go. Let me erase that and do that a little bit cleaner. Okay, 12 over 7. Times, now I'm going to flip that fraction to 2 over 3. And then we're going to cross reduce just like we did before. So I'll try to see 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 12 4. 2 and 7 will not cross reduce. We multiply straight across. We get 8 over 7. Again, if you change that to a mixed number, 7 goes into 8 one time with a remainder of 1. Alright, what about problem number 3 here? And problem number 3 is almost like number 1, except now the mixed number is on the right hand side, so we're dividing by mixed number, but we're going to do the same type thing. First thing we have to do is we got to change it. Again, reminder, ignore that sign until we're done. Okay, so now I have 3/4 divided by 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, so that's negative 8 over 3. Now I'm going to change my division to multiplication. So 3 over 4 times, and I have to flip this one, 3 over negative 8. Then I want to cross reduce. So I can't cross reduce here. 3 and 4 don't go, 3 and 8 don't go. Okay, so this is where you got to be really careful, because when you look at it back at this point, you might have tried to start canceling stuff, but it wasn't a multiplication yet. So make sure you always change it to multiplication. So we multiply straight across and we get 9 over negative 32. Okay, problem number 4. The only difference is now this one is a multiple choice problem. So we're still going to do the same thing. Write it over here to the side. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to change it to multiplication. So times, flip, 3 over negative 2. Try to cross reduce. Now the only thing that'll happen here, remember, when you multiply two negatives, you get a positive. So my final answer here is going to be positive. So I've taken care of the negatives here if you want to just kind of mark those out. I've already dealt with those. Okay, so always be mindful of your negative signs and what your final answer is. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and mark that out. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 2 is 4, so the answer is 3/4, which is J. Now, one thing you should have noticed early on in the problem is the fact that it is multiple choice, and when you're dealing with two negatives here, your answer has to be positive. So choice H would have been out immediately. Okay, and then problem number 5, another multiple choice, again, written differently. So we're going to change it to multiplication, so -9 times, now I've got to flip this one, 3 over -1. Remember, that's really -9 over 1. Two negatives, I know my final answer is going to be a positive, and then I deal with my numbers. 9 times 3 is 27. 1 times 1 is 1, so that's a positive 27, which is choice D. Now again, what you could have done here, two negatives would be a positive, so you could have eliminated A and C right off the bat. So just a reminder to use good testing strategies as well.